everyone, thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The new age internet continues to witness a surge in deepfake videos, a technological phenomenon that blurs the line between reality and fiction. A string of deepfake videos of Bollywood actors and other famous personalities have raised serious concerns. While Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke against the risks of artificial intelligence at the G20 virtual summit, the central government has announced that it will soon set up regulations to tackle this menace. This may include holding social media platforms and content creators responsible, including stakeholders working with AI tools. Very often, most commoners shy away from initiating a legal process or taking action while being victims of fast-paced tech. But the government has announced its big support to the victims and promised to stand by complainants against deepfake videos especially. This includes helping individuals file FIRs and an online portal to report violations by platforms. The IT ministry is clear. Apart from people spreading deepfake videos, making them, the platforms will be liable. They are currently liable and will be even more so in future after new rules and regulations are also brought in. So will platforms ensure compliance with Indian laws? We take that question forward with a special guest in just a bit. This is of course a worldwide problem and several developed nations have taken steps against this issue. Let me first begin by breaking down what some of the other developed countries have done. First up, in the United States, there are no federal regulations against deepfake as we speak, but some states have passed laws governing use of deepfake. The laws primarily focus on targeting deepfake pornography. That's the biggest problem that the world is facing right now. In California and Texas, a new law was passed in 2019 which also bars deepfake videos of political candidates during elections. Let's also take a look at the European Union to give you an idea of how that continent or large landmass is dealing with this. There are overhauled set of rules designed to curb disinformation, and of course deepfake comes under that. In Europe, social media platforms are going to be fined if no action is taken against disinformation or deepfake videos. This fine can be up to 6% of the platform's global revenue. The platforms are also asked to give users tools to recognize and flag disinformation, which is very important. In South Korea, for example, it is illegal to distribute deepfakes that harm public interest. A person can face up to 5 years in prison or can be fined up to 50 million won, which amounts to around 43,000 US dollars. While in the United Kingdom, in UK, sharing deepfake intimate images has been criminalized. The big question though is what to do if you spot a shady image or video. How do you determine that it is deepfake, meaning something that looks effectively real but is not? So there are some measures that US federal agencies, for example, amongst others suggest. First and foremost, do a double check of the source of the image or video and if it looks reliable or it looks like a fly-by-night operator. Reverse image searches like TinEye, Google image search, Bing's visual search can also be extremely useful if the media is an image or a composition of images, so you can figure out if it's new or old. You can also check the audio if there is a video, of course, that we are talking about. Look for presence of audio filters such as noise added for obfuscation. That can often mean that this video is not exactly what it was meant to be. Also double check the video itself. Look for obvious signs of manipulation. Look also for physical attributes that will not be otherwise possible, especially if there are individuals in that image or video, such as their feet not touching the ground or the wrong number of fingers on hands, etc. Finally, metadata can be a great tool. All metadata intact is an indication that that image is or video is authentic. Some metadata that is stripped indicates that the media has been potentially manipulated. So there are of course growing concerns over deepfake videos especially, but the big question is, will platforms ensure compliance with law? As the ministry says that there is Indian law that prohibits it from being circulated on platforms and ultimately they are going to be responsible. Coming up in just a minute, MoS I.T Rajeev Chandrashekhar, who answers this question and more.
Hello, Moto.
You've made a series of announcements today as far as the very serious issue of deepfakes is concerned. Before I come to them, I do want to understand from you, for the benefit of our viewers, as it stands today, is there a rule that makes platforms liable if there is deepfake on them?
Yes, there is. Since October of 2022, and even before that, in May 2021, the government has amended the IT Act, the rules under the IT Act, to make a rule which is called the Rule 31B5, which makes platforms absolutely legally liable for ensuring that no misinformation, no patently false information, which covers deepfakes, is allowed on their platform, and that it is made clear to users of their platforms that 12 types of content, which include deepfakes, are not permitted on their platform. This is the law of the land for several years. It has been known to the platforms for several years. Ever since of October 2022, both the Prime Minister and we at the government have been alerting these platforms to the threats of deepfakes, and here we are today talking to the platforms about what they should be doing to get making sure that the platforms are free from deepfakes.
What have the platforms told you? Because the biggest issue as far as deepfake is concerned is that generally the people feel that it's going to be very, very difficult both to track and to crack down upon. You had a meeting with platforms. What have they assured you?
No, look, I don't think we should accept at face value that something is difficult or something is impossible to crack down. It is for the platform to be very clear about alerting their own users and about the fact that their users cannot do these type of content, and if they do, they will be debarred from the platform. The platforms have not done it enough. Today, for example, in the meeting, it became very clear that the platforms agree that the current rules and law does provide for them to not allow deepfakes. B, that they have not aligned their own terms of use and contracts with the users to be sufficiently aligned with the IT rules and the 12 areas that are prohibited or that are not allowed by the platforms to carry. So they have some work to do. I think they did not do enough in the last 1 year that they should have. And today we have told them that, look, at the end of the day, the government will take a zero tolerance view towards deepfakes. We have the powers under the Act. They have the obligations under the law to make sure that platforms and users of platforms don't create deepfakes. And if they choose to do so or choose not to take action against deepfakes, then the government will do what it has to do, which is invoke Rule 7, remove the safe harbor, and facilitate the aggrieved person in filing a court case against the platform, and the platform and the aggrieved person can adjudicate that. Because please understand, deepfakes, there is a provision under even criminal law where impersonation is a criminal offense. Impersonation of another person is a criminal offense, and so therefore it is something that I made clear to the platforms today, that it is in their interest that they alert their users, they prevent their users, and they have agreement with their users that if there is any deepfake, they remove it, and if any user indeed tries to post deepfakes, that the user will be then debarred from the platform for violating the terms of use.
You've made several announcements today. Could you explain for our viewers, if tomorrow someone was to encounter a deep fake but concerned to them, what is it that they can do and how will the ministry help them?
We will roll out in the next few days an awareness campaign, which will certainly make it clear to all users, all digital nagriks, what their rights are and what the obligations of the platforms are. First of all, anybody who's aggrieved by a deepfake can approach a platform and ask for that deepfake to be removed. If the platform persists on not doing it, we will make it very easy for the digital nagrik to reach out to the government and inform the government about this violation of law of the by the platform. And we will nominate a Rule 7 officer who will then invoke Rule 7 under the rules which will essentially make it easy for the platform to be prosecuted under criminal or civil law, as the case may be, for the violation of deepfakes and the other 11 violations under the rules. So we will make this extremely easy for those who are aggrieved by deepfakes to take these platforms to court and have the courts determine what the punishment should be for platforms who carry deepfakes. Or indeed, there is another option under the law and the rules that if the platform uses the first originator provision under the law to say this is the user who's actually done the deepfake, then the dispute will be between the aggrieved party and the person who's actually created the illegal deepfake.
I believe you've also made announcements to not just about the Rule 7 officer, but the fact that the government will be coming up with a platform where you can actually report deepfake misuse. So how soon will this platform come up, and will this be the interface with the ordinary individual who can then file complaints on this platform?
So Shivani, we have in the past already launched a digital, very, very easy to use digital platform called the Grievance Appellate Committee, which deals with all of the non-legal grievances that users and digital nagriks have. And that has been very, very effective and has in large part reduced the number of grievances that people have against the platforms. It is going to be a very similar platform, but this will be for reporting violations of the law that the platforms will be accused of by the users and the digital nagriks. It will be done very soon. It will be very similar to the GSE. It will be totally digital. There will be no need for anybody to approach the government for this. And I've also said that if the platforms think that because it is a small user that the FIR and the process will be a tedious one, I've also made it clear to the platforms that the government will stand by the digital nagrik and help in the process of the FIR and the prosecution of this adjudication of this violation by the platform.
Rajeev Chandrashekhar, I wanted to clarify exactly this. Most consumers would not like to get into the business of filing an FIR and following a legal case. Will it be necessary for them to also file an FIR, or will a complaint on this platform be enough to take forward the case, or will both have to be done simultaneously?
Look, Shivani, I don't think it is our idea to get more and more people and more cases into the system, but and I hope platforms respond in the way they're expected to respond and comply with the expectations under the law for deepfake. So I think, first of all, that is my fond hope, and that is what most of us believe will happen, because it has happened in the past in the issue of grievances. So I hope platforms take this in the positive partnership spirit of creating a safe and trusted space for our users. In the event some platforms, if there is a few platforms who continue to violate the law or violate the expectation of the law, then what we will do is we will certainly facilitate the FIR filing. Under Indian law, unless there is a complaint by a complainant, the legal process cannot start. And while we may like to be the complainant, for example, if you're the aggrieved person, Shivani, and if there is a deep fake about you, certainly the process of legal adjudication has to be initiated by you.
Right.
And I hope that, while many people may be averse to joining a legal process, I am fairly confident there'll be enough people who are determined to ensure that the platforms are safe and trusted for everybody, that there will be enough people who will come out there and file the necessary paperwork and FIR, and the government will stand by them and make it as simple and easy for them to do it.
I know you have limited time. A couple of clarifications before I let you go. One, how much time do platforms have to remove a content that has been brought to their notice before someone can then legally proceed further? And secondly, what are the punishments that either the platform, specifically the platform, or the user concerned who has spread deepfake can attract?
The punishment part of it will be determined by a court. The government today is not going to prescribe a punishment. The government can only initiate the process for a court to determine. Of course, the complainant and the government will file the complaint, but the court will have to adjudicate the guilt or innocence of the platform and or the punishment under the relevant sections of the IPC for the platform. So that is one point. On the other broader point that you mentioned, Shivani, that
How much time will the platform
yeah,
have?
the under 31B and 31D platforms have been given up to 36 hours after a violation is reported to them. And I have always argued that 36 hours is way too much. And during the consultations, it was argued that they need time. And so we conceded from their ask of 48 hours to 36 hours. I think platforms have to find a way, figure out a way technologically or otherwise to find a solution for this. And I also want to say this, Shivani, the platforms love it when we start talking about new regulations, future regulations, and talk about technology. And all of those are relevant conversations to have. But what I have very clearly stressed today to the platforms is, as much as we want a new law, as much as we believe that there is a time for a new law because the law is 22 years old today, and there are new regulations that are required, and that we need to have a conversation about technology tools, it is absolutely important to accept and wake up to the fact that there is a law today, there are obligations, legal obligations cast on them today, and that if they don't fulfill those obligations, they will be in violation of law. And certainly that is not a position that they want to find themselves in. And we certainly don't want to find themselves in that situation and have to go down the road of having to block platforms permanently from the Indian internet. So all of this has been explained in very transparent, very free for all conversation today. I think there is a large understanding, a deeper understanding by the platforms of how we see this as an issue as that needs to be dealt with under the existing laws urgently, even as we parallelly talk about new regulations and
Okay.
new laws.
You know, you're going to come up with some new regulations. None other than the Prime Minister himself has raised the issue of deepfake and the concern from prominent platforms. Are you confident, forget about the intent, are you confident that tech-wise we can curb this menace? Because the technology is so wild in this section.
Yeah, I see. I must explain to you that there are two aspects to it. One is user behavior and platform conduct on one hand, and the other is the issue of tech.
Yes.
Yes, I think the sophistication of how you can do bad things with tech will always be running ahead of, and we will be playing catch up with the tools that are required to rein in the bad of tech. So this is just natural. It is a law in the near term. So that is a separate conversation. But the fact that there are laws that are aimed to deter bad behavior of users, that are aimed at ensuring platforms give themselves the responsibility of ensuring users conduct themselves responsibility and as per law, is a separate conversation.
Okay.
And it is not a conversation that is encumbered by or fettered by technology conversations on the other track. This is something platforms have very much within their capability to do.
Okay.
This is very much something that platforms can do, that when they detect deepfakes, when deepfakes are reported to them, they cause their users to either be removed from the platform for violating the law, or they cause the deepfake content to be labeled or removed from the platform. So I think there is a human behavior and the deterrent effect of law that is also to be treated as importantly as any conversation about, oh ये बड़ा नया टेक्नोलॉजी आ गया है, हम क्या करेंगे? वो तो होगा ही. We will have to do that. We will have to deal with that. But there is a small matter of law and compliance with law that is very important in a country which is a rule-driven, law-driven country like India.
Moving on, it's 2 months to go before the consecration ceremony at the new Ram Temple in Ayodhya by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and others. Here's a special report from the temple that is still under construction, but we get you an exclusive look inside till the Sanctum Sanctorium with Chairman of the Temple Construction Panel, Nipendra Mishra. of anticipation of centuries really that has been building up as the Ram temple gets completed. And come January 22nd, there's going to be a row of people that is going to throng the small city of Ayodhya once again. The city itself is gearing up to be able to take the load of thousands and lakhs of people coming to take their darshan once the Ram Lala Murti is consecrated in the new Ram temple. It's been a struggle of 500 years to see the Ram temple being constructed at the very Ram Janmasthan where I am standing today. And it's been litigation of over 70 years to have this dream come true for over 80 crore Indians, but many more devotees across the world. The Ram temple is finally a reality. With that, it marks a seminal moment in Indian Indic civilization, because this is the first of those many struggles that has come to fruition when it comes to erasing the markers of invaders and reclaiming the rightful spot of Lord Ram for his temple. On January 22, 2024, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming here for the first big milestone as far as this Ram temple is concerned, which is the consecration ceremony. There is already a Ram Lala Virajman in a makeshift temple. Not just that Ram Lala, but a new Murti of Ram Lala will be consecrated at this Ram temple. From here on, those are the two Swarups of Ram Lala that will be prayed to by devotees. And from the very next day forward, the doors of the new Ram temple will be thrown open to thousands, possibly lakhs of devotees who are waiting very eagerly to do their first darshan. Today we have a very special guest, the chairman of the Ram Janmabhoomi Ram Temple Trust, Nipendra Mishra, joining us, who was entrusted the very difficult task to ensure that not just that the Ram temple is built with good deadlines in mind on time, but also that it is built to specifications of those concerned, of those in the know, and those who have the knowledge of how the Ram temple should be built. We'll speak to Nipendra Mishra, who will give us more information about not just the January 22 program, but also what to expect if you come next to the Ram temple. Let's go inside the temple now, and Mishra sir will explain to us the intricacies of what the devotees are likely to see. First, of course, the Prime Minister and some of the seers are going to be coming on January 22nd. What is it that is going to be described, to them?
देखिए, यहाँ पे जब अब हम लोग एंटर कर रहे हैं तो रफली टेम्पल का लंबाई जो है वो 390 फीट है
जी।
इसकी जो चौड़ाई है आयाम वो लगभग 300 फीट है। इसमें जब हम सीधे वॉक करते हैं तो सैंक्टम सैंक्टोरम के अलावा यहाँ पर 3 मंडप हैं, जो एक गुरु मंडप है, एक यहाँ पर रंग मंडप है
जी,
और एक यहाँ पर स्लिप हो रहा है, एक थर्ड मंडप है, और 2 साइड के मंडप मिलाकर के 5 हो जाते हैं
जी।
एक तरफ प्रार्थना मंडप होगा, एक तरफ नृत्य मंडप होगा।
अच्छा।
तो इस प्रकार से 5 मंडपों के उसमें आप वॉक करते हुए चलेंगे। ये पहला मंडप है।
ये जो हम अब पहुंच रहे हैं, ये राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर का पहला मंडप है। ऑलमोस्ट तैयार हो चुका है
जी।
यहाँ पे जो पिलर्स की जो नक्काशी वगैरह है वो सब हो चुकी है, और ये भी जो इसकी गुम्बद भी है वो भी तैयार हो चुकी है। तो इसका भी कुछ
ये रंग मंडप है।
ये रंग मंडप है, सबसे पहला मंडप।
जी हाँ।
तो इसका कुछ सिग्निफिकेंस होता है
जी। इसका एक तरीके से उल्लास
जी।
You are now reaching the stage of what is called utmost happiness.
Right.
So you have now entered, and your only, let's say, ambition or inspiration or whatever, your devotional commitment is to have darshan.
So this is joy.
Yeah.
On coming into the temple and doing darshan.
And all these names have come from the special हमारे आर्किटेक्ट थे, उन्होंने मंदिरों के निर्माण की एक शैली थी, नागर शैली, उसके भी हैं, उन्होंने उसे एडॉप्ट करके इसका नाम दिया जी। अब इसमें जो महत्वपूर्ण चीज आप देखेंगी, you see the pillars,
yes,
and
these are some of the sculptures that are there. बहुत सारी मूर्तियां इसमें पिलर्स में बनाई गई हैं।
ये इसका एक हिस्सा है जी, अपर मोस्ट जी। ये आप इस तरीके से समझें कि ये इनको हम नृत्यांगना नहीं कहते हैं
जी।
दे आर नॉट जस्ट डांसर्स, बट दे आर पावर, शक्ति। तो उसका है, ये वो हैं जो भगवान के अराइवल पर खुशियाँ मना रही हैं
जी जी। तो इसीलिए ये रंग मंडप है।
हाँ, ये ऐसा ही, लेकिन ये जो पैटर्न है ये पूरे पिलर्स पे अडॉप्टेड है।
तो मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाह रही थी मिश्रा जी, क्योंकि इसका क्या कोई इस राम टेम्पल के लिए कोई टेम्पलेट तो नहीं रहा हुआ होगा, या कुछ ऐसा था हिस्टोरिकली जिससे अडॉप्ट की गई हैं कुछ चीज़ें कि ऐसा होना चाहिए जब राम टेम्पल बनेगा? तो
मंदिरों की शैली तो वो आर्किटेक्ट महोदय ने अडॉप्ट किया पुस्तकों से
जी, और
उनका ही यह एक तरीके से योगदान है कि इतने मंडप होंगे, फिर फर्स्ट स्टोरी पे एक घटेगा, फिर 3 मंडप हो जाएंगे, फिर उसके ऊपर 2 मंडप हो जाएंगे, फिर उसके ऊपर शिखर होगा। तो एक तरीके से ये सब उनकी शैली का हिस्सा है
जी,
जो उन्होंने अडॉप्ट किया।
मैं कोशिश करूंगी कि मेरे जो वीजे हैं वो ज़रा दिखाए कि इसकी जो पूरी गुम्बद है वो तैयार हो गई है और उस पर सारी नक्काशी हो चुकी है। ये फर्स्ट मंडप है राम टेम्पल का और यहाँ पे पूरी तैयारी हो चुकी है। कुछ मूर्तियाँ अभी भी बन रही हैं जिसकी शिल्पकारी अभी होगी, जैसे कि मेरे साथ में यहाँ पैटर्न बना हुआ है। कुछ अभी थोड़ा सा हो गया है, इसको पूरा नक्काशा नहीं गया है और थोड़ी सी बची है। तो ये सारा काम अभी ऑब्वियसली ख़त्म किया जाएगा क्योंकि थोड़ा बहुत काम बचा है यहाँ फर्स्ट मंडप में भी। और जाते जाते हमारे पास 3 आगे मंडप हैं और 2 साइड में मंडप हैं।
ये जो आपने बहुत अच्छा किया, समझा दिया। जो कार्विंग है ये अभी इनको नकाशा जाएगा या आप चिजलिंग कहें, हाँ। वो करेंगे और उसके बाद फिर इसकी फाइनल टच होता है जिसमें कि ये स्वरूप फाइनल को करके आएगा। ये 3 हैं, आपने बिल्कुल सही बताया कि पूरा नहीं है। 3rd ये है जो अभी बनना है। ये फिक्स है, कौन सी मूर्ति आएगी ये शैली में है। मूर्ति की कार्विंग इसी पे होगी, इस पे ड्राइंग बनेगी और इस पे फिर पत्थर से काम होगा। लेकिन क्या होगा यहाँ मूर्ति वो ऑलरेडी तैयार है।
तो सर ये जो मंदिर कंस्ट्रक्शन का जो तरीका है ये डिफरेंट होता है। इसमें लोहा सीमेंट यूज़ नहीं होता, सिर्फ पत्थर से ये बनता है। तो ये पत्थर कहाँ से आया है, इसकी कुछ खासियत है जिस पत्थर से ये बनाया गया?
जी, एक तो ये है कि जो पत्थर है ये तो ऊपर स्टोन का है, जो फाउंडेशन राफ्ट और प्लिंथ के बाद है। फाउंडेशन इसकी जो है वो 15 मीटर डीप है। फाउंडेशन डीप है और जिस प्रकार से बनाई गई वो आईआईटी चेन्नई ने रिकमेंड किया
जी।
और उसकी गुणवत्ता ये है, द स्पेसिफिकेशन कन्वर्ट्स इटसेल्फ इनटू ए स्टोन। So that is the feature, and why it was necessary, not many may know that Saryu river was very close. So when the geologists surveyed it, they saw that maybe 1000 years or before there was some flow which was coming on this ground.
Okay.
So they took care that the soil of that has to be made stronger. So the soil was dug out and removed and then refilled with the engineered soil recommended by IIT Chennai.
So overall, how many workers do you think have worked over the construction of this temple so far?
Well, at the moment there are about 2,500 people who are working.
Okay.
And
I believe it's day and night construction.
oh yes, yes.
It's all 3 shifts.
Oh yes. And that also, to be honest, we keep reviewing it. It is not adequate.
Not adequate.
Yeah, if we have to finish, by the way, you may like to know that this stair takes you to the first floor.
First floor.
Yeah.
And this mandap is not closing on the first floor. Will this have a height going up to the 3rd floor?
This will go up to the 2nd floor.
Okay.
Yeah, so first floor and 2nd floor. But this gumbaj will come. What perhaps is not closing, and you rightly observed, here it will get closed in a manner, but what will not close and the height it will take this up to 2nd floor is on the Guru Mandap.
So that is going to be fully up.
Yeah.
There is going to be no roof.
Yeah, and because of that, the roof will be on the 2nd floor.
2nd floor.
Top floor. That's where the dome will be there.
So that will be a full high ceiling area of the temple.
And from there, the next is the support, the shikhar comes. Now you are actually last but one. After this, you will go to the sanctum sanctorum.
Right. So what is this? This is also the 3rd mandap.
Yeah, this is Guru Mandap.
This is
you
Guru
have
Mandap.
really entered Guru Mandap.
Okay. And this looks really majestic.
Yeah, and this will go up to another 2 stories,
Right.
1st and 2nd floor. To ensure that the safety of the devotees,
You've covered it.
covered it, so that the work will go on
Right.
while the devotees will make
Cross
a
from
queue and go to the.
So this is going to be open, right? That's what I wanted to clarify. So from
ultimately
those from the
it
first floor
will
can look down.
Yeah, first floor will be open. 2nd floor finally will
Will be the roof.
closed.
So this is some marble floor work that is here. So clearly a lot of attention is
Yes.
being paid to the inlay work and the marble work that is on the floor of the temple as well.
This is the exactly you will have the feel how the entire flooring will come, in which there will be this kind of a art design in the center. There will be border on the sides
Okay.
and the marble work. Here,
Yes.
the 2 domes which will also be there.
On the
arms.
left and the right.
Yeah, the Pratna and the Nritya Mandap.
So Nitya Mandap, does it literally mean Nitya Mandap? Will there be
Actually-
ceremonies here?
Not Nritya, but it will enable devotees to perform, but not in the sense of Nritya,
Right, right.
not in the sense of entertainment.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But maybe a ceremony of
Yeah,
sorts.
if there are ceremonies which trust would approve,
Right.
only that will be coming here.
So, for the benefit of our viewers, 22 जनवरी 2024 तक ये ग्राउंड फ्लोर है. आप जितना कंप्लीट कर सके उतना कंप्लीट करने की कोशिश करेंगे और बाकी फ्लोर्स फिर बनते रहेंगे. 2 फ्लोर्स उसके ऊपर भी हैं. मेरे ख्याल से ऊपर राम दरबार भी बन रहा है एक फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे और फिर सेकंड फ्लोर भी है, लेकिन उनका काम चलता रहेगा और जो शरणार्थी आएंगे, जो डेवोटीज आएंगे, उनको एंट्री मिलती रहेगी.
बिल्कुल आपने अच्छा किया, ये सफाई दे दी. लोगों को कुछ कंफ्यूजन सा होता है कि जो निर्माण है वो पूरा हो गया.
जी जी जी
तो ये नहीं है, भूतल का निर्माण पूरा हो जाएगा.
जी.
फर्स्ट फ्लोर और सेकंड फ्लोर का निर्माण
और जो पूरा कॉम्प्लेक्स है वो भी बनता रहेगा.
तो वो 2 फेज में है. पूरा मंदिर दिसंबर 2024 में हो जाएगा।
अच्छा, तो वो भी बहुत पास लग रही है डेडलाइन सर, आपको लगता है आप कंप्लीट कर पाएंगे? क्योंकि मैं जो देख रही हूँ जितना विशाल ये स्ट्रक्चर है, तो और जितना आप कॉम्प्लेक्स की बता रहे हैं, 70 एकड़ का कॉम्प्लेक्स है, आगे परकोटा है, पूरा परिक्रमा होगी, तो बहुत काम अभी बाकी,
बहुत चैलेंजिंग है, लेकिन कॉम्प्लेक्स जो है वो दिसंबर 2025 में पूरा होगा,
वो बनता रहेगा।
हाँ, तो वो 3 चरण में इस कार्य को लिया गया था।
अच्छा,
जिसका कि आपने देखा श्रद्धालु यहाँ तक आएगा
जी,
यहाँ से उसके भगवान के दर्शन होंगे।
तो अब हम 3 मंडप पार करके यहाँ पर पहुंच गए हैं और अब आप देख सकते हैं कि ये गर्भगृह है। दिस इज द सैंक्टम सैंक्टोरियम एंड आई कैन ऑलरेडी सी दैट इट्स लुकिंग रियली ग्रैंड एंड फैसिनेटिंग बिकॉज दिस इज स्टोन टिल हियर, बट बियॉन्ड that is marble on the walls,
yes,
right?
yes.
So that is all white marble, संगमरमर का ये मार्बल है जो इंडिया का बहुत फेमस है। और मैं देख रही हूँ कि एक पेडेस्टल भी तैयार हो चुका है
जी।
तो उस पेडेस्टल पे उस हाइट के बाद अब रामलला की मूर्ति लगेगी।
बिल्कुल आपने सही गेस किया, ये वही स्थान है जो कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने
जहाँ पे
5 अगस्त 2020 को एक शुभारंभ का पूजन किया था।
जी जी जी।
उसके बाद निर्माण कार्य हुआ।
तो मैं ये देख रही हूँ मिश्रा जी की ये कुछ ऑक्टेगोनल टाइप शेप लग रही है, इसका कोई सिग्निफिकेंस होता है? ये जो गर्भगृह का जो डिजाइन है इस पे क्या विचार हुआ था?
विचार तो काफी हुआ कि स्क्वायर हो, ऑक्टेगोनल हो। अंत में श्रद्धालु को ध्यान में रखा गया
जी।
एक और एक तरीके से 2 चैलेंजेस और थे। एक चैलेंज तो यह था कि वास्तु और नागर शैली में यह कहा जाता था कि ये जो पाठ है जो खुलेगा भगवान के दर्शन के लिए, यहाँ पर सोने के 2 द्वार लगेंगे, तो इसकी इतनी भी चौड़ाई वो बहुत समझते थे।
अच्छा,
हाँ, आप अगर ध्यान करें तो अधिकांश मंदिरों में जो छोटा होता है
जी जी जी,
तो उनको इस पर आपत्ति थी कि ये आप बहुत लंबा कर रहे हैं, संभवतः 12 फीट है। और उसके बाद एक दूसरा चैलेंज था कि इसको हम इस प्रकार से सपोर्ट दें कि स्टोन के वेट को ये सस्टेन कर सके।
जी जी बिल्कुल,
जो कि CBRI को देखना था, सेंट्रल बिल्डिंग रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट को। तो उन्होंने देखने के बाद यह अपनी स्वीकृति दी कि आप इतना कर सकते हैं, इससे ज़्यादा करेंगे तो प्रॉब्लम होगी सस्टेनेबिलिटी की। तो यहाँ पर ये कठिनाई थी।
तो सर ये जो पूरा जो एक तरह से म्यूरल ही है, ये जो मार्बल में पूरा वो किया गया है, स्कल्प्ट किया गया है, तो इसके पीछे भी कोई स्टोरी होगी? क्या क्या डिपिक्ट करना था गर्भगृह की दीवारों पे?
देखिए, इसमें अभी बहुत सारा काम है
जी।
इसके ऊपर आप अभी देख नहीं सकेंगी, वो विष्णु जी का है और वो एक तरीके से समुद्र मंथन
जी, उसको
की कहानी है
जी, जी।
जिसमें हर एक फिर 9 ग्रहों को दिखाया जा रहा है। फिर यहाँ पर 2 द्वारपाल होंगे जिनका नाम जय और विजय होता है।
अच्छा।
वो यहाँ पर लगेंगे।
अच्छा।
और फिर साइड में हनुमान जी और गणेश जी की मूर्ति होगी।
मैं देख रही हूँ ऊपर गणेश जी की मूर्ति ऑलरेडी लगाई गई है, जो बिल्कुल चौखट है गर्भगृह की, उसमें गणेश जी की मूर्ति लगाई है, क्योंकि गणेश जी की मूर्ति होना बहुत जरूरी है।
लेकिन साइड में लगभग 4 फीट के हनुमान जी लगेंगे और उसी प्रकार के गणेश जी लगेंगे। 1 सेकंड आपका और लूंगा।
हाँ जी।
ये जो स्थान है भगवान का, जिसको हम सभी विश्वास करते हैं कि यहाँ पर भगवान राम
जन्मे
प्रकट हुए। तो इस स्थान को 2 मूर्तियों के साथ रखा जाएगा, इसीलिए ये आप देखेंगे लेवल्स हैं।
जी जी जी।
नीचे वाले लेवल पे वहाँ जो वर्तमान में मंदिर है
की जो मूर्ति है
वो यहाँ पर आएगा
जी,
और उसके ऊपर
जो नई मूर्ति
है वो है। और वह मूर्ति 51 इंच की बनेगी।
जी।
तो इस प्रकार से एक कैलकुलेटेड हाइट में
हाँ।
लगभग 71 इंच की हाइट पे हो,
हाँ।
जिससे कि वह इधर से दिखाई भी दे सके। और दूसरा एक महत्वपूर्ण चीज़ ये है कि रामनवमी के दिन भगवान के माथे पर सूर्य किरण पड़नी चाहिए
ऊपर से।
हाँ, तो वो सूर्य किरण कैसे आए, यह कार्य CBRI और एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल इंस्टीट्यूट पुणे ने किया।
तो वो सूर्य किरण ऊपर से आएगी या सामने से?
नहीं,
ऊपर से आएगी।
ऊपर शिखर से
हाँ।
एपर्चर होगा,
हाँ।
आएगी और आने के बाद वो रिफ्लेक्ट होगी
और उनके माथे पे रिफ्लेक्ट की जाएगी
और फिर वो आएगी।
चलिए रामनवमी पे फिर ये भी जब देखेंगे
हाँ।
लोग हर रामनवमी में ये भी देखा करेंगे।
एक तरीके से वो बड़ा ही महत्वपूर्ण क्षण होगा।
जी जी।
और हम लोगों को बड़ा ध्यान रखना है क्योंकि बहुत संख्या में लोग चाहेंगे कि उसी समय रहें।
हाँ, रामनवमी के दिन वो देखने आएंगे कि जिस
यादें
समय
हटे नहीं।
तो किस समय होगी ये सूर्य किरण?
वो रामनवमी के दिन 12 बजे दिन
12 बजे दोपहर में
जी।
उनके माथे पे सूर्य किरण पड़ेगी। तो ये वो इतना एरिया है जहाँ तक दर्शन के लिए लोग आ पाएंगे। मिश्रा जी, there's a lot of faith that is associated with the Ram temple, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
And you must have encountered that level of devotion and faith from the public during the construction of the Ram temple. Any experiences that come to mind of how people showed their faith and devotion?
That experience is not really related to this temple, but if you really want to know about this, I get at least on an average 20 requests. I want to be associated, pro bono, no expectations, nothing. Just put me in some task.
They want to work for
the temple as a voluntary worker. Provide even after when the temple is open, they want to be here. And you'll be happy to know that in trust today, there are number of people, engineers, retired eminent engineers, who have given their commitment pro bono with no expectation. They just live in one room with their family or without family and just do the work. The food is taken care of by the trust. But
they don't take any salary or any work, income from their work. Now, you've been a bureaucrat. You've obviously served with the PMO for a very long time. But there's been a lot of politics associated with the Ram temple in India. I mean, not as a politician, not as a bureaucrat, but do you sometimes wonder how is this even possible? Because many people did not think it was possible in their lifetime.
I didn't.
You did not.
Many of my generation, even future and past, nobody had thought that this temple will come and will become a reality. I think there you have to recognize our judiciary. Our judiciary is trusted by all people of India, all citizens of India. They never question the judicial pronouncement. And the most important function of our judiciary is that if something is overheated, where the nation temperature has gone very high, the judiciary has a capacity to absorb it, cool it down, then decide on facts, determine the truth and deliver the judgment. This is what happened in November of 2019.
Absolutely.
So all the politics died that day.
And thankfully we have not seen any acrimony since that day.
If you visit Faizabad and Ayodhya, Faizabad actually is not Faizabad, now Ayodhya. If you visit, you will notice that both communities or any number of other communities, they are living peacefully And they have often wondered, why was all this? And if you talk to them frankly, they will say it was all creation of outsiders.
Personally for you, has this been a very gratifying experience, fulfilling experience, or are you tired now?
No, I'm not tired, and my commitment is unquestioned. My commitment is not qualified. My commitment is not for any return to make this temple. So I consider it as a divine assignment which came my way. I will do my best. So there is a degree of faith
Right.
within me which drives me to do the work.
Because you mustn't have expected at one point that so late in your career you would get a job like this. You would be tasked with such an important job.
In 2019 when I left PMO, I had mentally sort of decided I will pursue some of the other things, some other work which was dear to me. But then came the judgment, and in January, February of 2020, some personal inquiry was made about my accepting the assignment. So that is what it is.
So what was your first thought when you were approached?
Absolutely, first and last, even now, I consider this as an instrument of this task or great work for God which has come my way. When I talk to many other people, they all tell me I am very fortunate to have got it and blah blah.
But you're part of history.
Yeah, but then I start realizing, but believe me, in doing this work, I have felt very humble. Because it is coming true with millions and billions of people who are every day praying for the completion of the temple.
True.
So it is coming now, and it will become reality, I hope. All this because of Almighty.
Almighty. The construction of the Ram temple in itself is a huge moment for Indian civilization. But the construction of the Ram temple is not just that. It is also a complete transformation for the city of Ayodhya. From an airport to the expansion of the railway junction, to broadening of roads and highways, to a lot of the other spots which devotees come to in Ayodhya being beautified. There's a lot of work, as many as 200 big and small projects that are ongoing in Ayodhya in preparation for the devotees, lakhs of whom that will come once the Ram temple throws its doors open. To begin with, that is going to happen on the 23rd of January 2024. But of course, as the entire temple and the temple complex gets readied, it will be able to take a lot more devotees, and that number will always be ever expanding, not just from UP, not just from India, but from across the world. So this is a big challenge for the city of Ayodhya too, and the current government of Uttar Pradesh too, as much as it's the challenge to ready the Ram temple on time and to throw open its doors. The challenge for the city will be to be able to handle that kind of a load that will be coming into Ayodhya. With camera person Rajesh Bhardwaj in Ayodhya, Shivani Gupta, CNN News 18.
Hello, Moto. co-powered by.
At this moment India can do, or would it be too early?
I think we need to start just looking out for early signs. If the infection is still localized in China, the real worry is that no one believes what China says. So the real impact is that especially in international traffic, we then, for any passenger who's been to China or recently, at least in the past 2 weeks, would have to be screened in exit and entry. That puts a huge manpower and financial resource burden on the parent country and the neighboring countries. So I think we need to be very, very careful. India is a very strong representation in WHO, and I would request the Indian government to put adequate pressure on WHO to screen what is happening there, to get the serology and put it in public domain. No one is safe till everyone is safe. And I think China can't play hide and seek like they did last time.
The World Health Organization officially seeking a detailed report from the nation on an increase in respiratory illnesses and cases of pneumonia in children. This move came after media reports that Chinese hospitals have been overwhelmed with sick children in 2 regions in particular, one of which is the capital, Beijing. This is as an outbreak of pneumonia escalates in cities across the country, and this is as the country continues to grapple, remember, with the aftermath of COVID. Still, this is the World Health Organization. They asked Chinese authorities of this. Now, these are the updates we have so far. We'll wait for a reporter to join us to bring us more details. But it is reported also that China has responded to it. We'll share China's response in just a second with you. We'll also bring you more details. Remember, China has been dealing with this, what they've called a mysterious pneumonia outbreak that's spread particularly in Chinese schools, as we've told you, resulting in hospitals being overwhelmed with sick children. Now, my colleague Shireen is with us right now to bring us more details. Shireen, I believe no deaths had been reported so far as of just till yesterday. So multiple cases, but no deaths so far. And I believe Chinese authorities are now telling the World Health Organization that even when they're doing the inquiry, there are no pathogens they don't recognize. Can you tell us, Shireen, A, what is a pathogen, and then tell us more about the Chinese statement, please?
Well, as far as the cases of pneumonia among kids in China is concerned, it started around mid-October. And till now, there has in fact been hundreds of kids who have in fact been affected by pneumonia. Now, remember what the Chinese government in their statement, the medical department in their statement have been saying is that because the restrictions of COVID-19 has been removed, more and more people are going out, children are going to school, and that is why these unidentifiable cases of pathogen is coming out in the open. There are illness of respiratory illness that is eventually, turning into pneumonia is the cases that are being found in children. Now, so far, the WHO has raised a concern, and they have also sought a report from the Chinese government as to what is really happening on ground and what are the steps that they are going to take. Now, apart from that, WHO themselves have also given, in fact, a series of advisories that includes wearing masks when necessary, ensure that when they are sick, if the children are sick, they stay at home, and not meeting with people who have any sort of illness. These are some of the points that has been put forth by WHO. They have sought a report from China because remember, this is not a normal case because we are seeing hundreds of kids that are getting pneumonia, that are being admitted in hospitals, and hospitals on the other side are overwhelmed with these many cases that are coming at this point. Now, the Chinese government, of course...
Can I just ask you to stay with us? We have Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, an Indian pediatrician and nephrologist who's with us this morning to bring us more details on this entire story. Dr. Bagai, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on the show. Dr. Bagai, if I may ask you, I assume you've been looking at the reports that are coming out of China right now. China's just told the World Health Organization that there are no unrecognizable pathogens in this spreading, this pneumonia that they're calling. What does that mean? Can you just break down to our audiences? And the reports coming out of China, do they strike you as a cause for worry or not, sir?
Yeah, so China is always a cause of worry. What is available in public domain is these are viral pneumonias or bacterial pneumonias, we are not sure. There are